So over the past couple of days, I've seen a trend happening again, which is, we've had 4 or 5 clients lose deals, and they're losing deals because they're not prepared, either prepared because they're new and they don't have the money set up, or they're not prepared because they're going from flips to rentals and it's just a different lending kind of thing, or they're going to development. So today I was just going to go over, like, in this competitive world, what do you do to make sure you're closing these deals and not just taking people off because you didn't get the wholesaler's deal closed or the realtor's deal closed. So how do you do that?
Man, that sucks. So what did they do for those that lost the deals, right? What do you think they did wrong? What could they have done differently to make sure they closed those deals?
It's just being prepared up front. I mean, if you're in this business, it is a business. It's a competitive business. You want the best deals. To get the best deals, you got to perform, meaning you have to close when a wholesaler or a real estate agent or someone gives you a property, you get it under contract. I think what people have done, especially the newer people, is they've relied on one thing too much, which is finding properties. And you really got to look at, I have to find the lenders and the properties, lenders and the properties. You can spend more time finding properties, but you have to make sure the lenders for what you're doing, for your situation, are set up correctly.
So when these clients lost these deals, did they lose that property too and someone else got it?
Yep. So we had a lady yesterday, she just reached out to us. We're about to talk to her and she just sends us an email, says, sorry, I just lost it. Someone else came in and closed it while I was trying to find financing. Especially the new people, working with a hard money lender, someone who's going to give them a little bit more money. And then some of the traditional people, traditional lenders require the 10 or 15 or more. Some flexibility. We just got a deal today where the guy's numbers were he's all in at 170. It's worth 270 to 300. He needs 100% financing. That's a 62% or something ARV loan. As a lender, finding someone like us for something like that, it's a perfect situation. He wants 100% financing. We're fine. Hard money lenders are fine with 100% financing when it's the right deal. So making sure you're approved with the right lender for your particular deal. If I have 15, 20, 30%, a lot of experience, I may go to a bank because that's a better fit for me. If I need to close something fast with less money in, have the hard money people ready and available and ready to close so you can get the next deal. So you don't tick off the wholesaler, you don't tick off the realtor. So spend some time getting the money approved. And even if you can't find a property for a month or two, keep in contact with that lender, making sure they know that you're still out there looking.
Gotcha. So it's not just about losing the deal, which is obviously the worst part about it, but it's also like, well, potentially it's the worst part. It could be even worse to like lose those relationships. If you had a really good realtor, that was a really good lender, and then they're ticked off because you didn't do this at the right time. You did it, too late, and so you lost it. Because they stand to benefit too, right? I think that's helpful to remember in all business situations. It's like the other people are in this for the money as well. Like we're building relationships, we're trying to do the right thing, but also like, they're making a return on this whole transaction. They're also making a living.
So they're making a return that they're probably not going to get right now. And if it's a realtor or someone else, they also went from making money to being, having people yell at them. Why did you said you're going to close? We gave you this great deal. If you're a realtor, there's probably another realtor calling you going like, was this, you're putting them in a bad situation.
Gotcha.
So they're less likely to go out and find you that next deal or the next deal. You want to be the competitive advantage of they give you a good deal, you close it. And they're like, wow, that was good. I want to do another one with them. There's another one. They closed it even a day earlier or whatever, like no issues, working with hard money, like maybe there's no appraisal, maybe there's no inspection or some of these other things. It's getting approved and making sure you could close will help your future because maybe the wholesaler has other deals and they're like, hey, I remember that person closed on time with no, issues. The next good deal, I'm going to give it to them because they need to close it. It needs to close fast. And you get to the top of their list. So making sure you're prepared for the funding is huge in this industry.
And I feel like this might be a dumb question, but I forgot, is pre-approval about each individual property, or are you like pre-approved for a certain amount of money for any property and that's what enables you to go grab them quickly?
Great question. Because it's typically pre-approved means you are approved up to a certain dollar amount. So
that's why this is such an important move. Yeah.
And then each property, of course, they have to look at it to make sure it fits with what, their guidelines are. But someone comes in and they're like, okay, I'm pre-approved for 300. Maybe they have to bring in some money. Maybe they don't. But with a hard money lender, you might be like, up to 70% ARV, we could fund 100% of it. Anything above that, you're going to have to find like the gap funding, put some money down yourself. A lot of the newer people are trying to figure out how to finance stuff. So they should start working on that. Where's your credit score? Where's your, maybe working with some other people and getting some experience, like looking over someone's shoulder, stuff like that.
So having that ahead of time is like going into the transaction, like they're going to be the one to pick you because you're pre-approved. I mean, again, if you think from the perspective of the wholesaler or the property owner, right? It's like if they have a bunch of people wanting to buy and you have three are not pre-approved and one is, easy decision.
Yep.
That makes sense.
And pre-approved with a lender who's going to close on something like that, because you can be pre-approved for a DSCR loan, but you can't buy a flip with a DSCR loan because it's not a value, like you can't buy a property and then, use the DSCR to fix it up. You need to fix it.
Sure.
So making sure you have the right loan for the right property too.
Can you be pre-approved for different types? Like, Can I go out, can I be like, all right, I'm pre-approved for a DSCR, I'm pre-approved for a different type of loan, I'm pre-approved for a fix and flip. I could have like it's almost like a little resume of pre-approvals.
Exactly. Like, hey, if I find a rental, I have the property. Or if you're going to do BRRRR, we've talked about BRRRR's kind of coming back again, but you're going to need a purchase money, like a hard money loan. Then you're going to need a long-term loan, like a DSCR or conventional loan. So you should be pre-approved, because the faster you can get that property bought, fixed up, and rented, the faster you could get into a new long-term loan. So in BRRRR, you need both right away. But there's many people out there looking, they find a property that's like, it's not a great flip, but it'd be a great rental. And that's where you have to be pre-approved. You can't go back to your hard money lender and say, hey, I need a 30-year. No, they're going to be like, it's not what we do. Like, we make burgers over here. We're not going to, give you a pizza.
Gotcha. So hard money wouldn't do like a 30-year. Yeah.
No.
Gotcha.
So you have to get a pre-approved. I think I said this before, for what you're doing. Are you doing construction? Are you doing land splits? Are you just doing flips? Are you doing rentals? Are you doing accommodation? Are you doing 1 through 4 unit? Are you doing larger complexes? All a different ball game. So when you go from even 1 to 4 units and you are like, I want to buy an 8-plex or 12-plex, it's a different world even for your lender.
I could see another problem that would come up for people is like just deciding, like just picking one of those, because I could see myself, for example, going in and being like, oh, I want to just find the deal, and then that might be why people are procrastinating it. Then if this is a really good deal, then I'll go get the loan for that one. And it's like, no, it's okay. Just make that somewhat arbitrary decision on the front end. Maybe you have reasons why rentals would be better than something else. But like make that choice so that you can get pre-approved, because otherwise it's just too competitive. You're not going to be able to like close on those properties. Okay.
Yeah. You're not going to get those properties. You're not going to make that money, for a flip. You're not going to create that wealth or that income. And like we said before, you're going to tick off a few other people who are involved, who are not going to be on your side now. So you need every advantage you can, making sure you have the right lenders, everything set up correctly for what you're doing, because you want to make sure your whole team, sees you grow. Because if you have a min staff, everyone wants you to close deals, including the realtor, including the wholesaler, including you, including the lender. And that all takes just a little bit of work as you're going through. I have a hard money lender, I have a regular private, I have a bank, I have a DSCR, whatever it is, making sure you're set up for what you're doing.
Gotcha.
And don't try to do too much either right away.
Yeah.
As you grow, you could get into, more and more complex things, but just say, I'm going to do 4 flips on single families and then go on to the next thing. But get it done, make your money, and keep growing.
This seems to be like a theme that comes up in our conversations too, is that the people that'll be successful are just willing to put in a little bit more elbow grease, and I don't know what the right word is, but a little more mind grease too. Like something like that is just kind of taxing to have to, especially if you haven't done it before. I got to go figure out loans and, okay, this is not my arena. I'm going to go call somebody and I'm going to, like, especially younger people, I think we don't want to talk to somebody on the phone, but that's the most efficient way to like call somebody, just ask questions, be willing to look a little, I might feel like I look dumb or something, but just ask the dumb questions, figure it out. And the people that do just that little bit of work, even if it's a bit unpleasant, it's not that much unpleasantness for the payoff, because there's so many people aren't willing to do it.
I think it's those who can suspend thinking for that hour or whatever. Like, hey, I have to make calls. Instead of like analyzing everything, just like, I'm going to make 5 in lender calls. And I'm not going to judge everything. Like every time I call someone, I'm not going to go like, man, I think, that person, thought this or that. I'm just going to learn from each call. Like, hey, I learned this from that call. Let's call the next lender. Let's call the next lender. I think with people, they get too much in their head, and then they, as they say, get in your head and you're dead, because you think too much.
I haven't heard that, but that sounds like portions of my life would be described that way.
Like I say, it's like, we call it 3, 2, 1, just get it done. So plan what you're going to do. And then for whatever time, if you're going to call lenders, you're going to look at properties, just do that and suspend all the thought process, all the thinking that goes in. Like I'm gonna find properties for a half hour today. Just do it. Don't think. Don't just go in and look at properties, comp them out. Same with lenders. Once you get going, it might be a half hour a month that you're just gonna reach out to new. Just do
nothing.
Learn something every time you do it. Take it that you're learning something instead of like, hey, they thought. I didn't have the right credit score. Oh, I didn't have the right credit score. I need a better credit score. Oh, I didn't have enough money. I need a little bit more money. Learn what you need to do to fix. So the next time you call them, you have 3 people competing for your business instead of you trying to find a lender, begging for a lender or whatever.
Gotcha.
Learn every time. Stop thinking so much and analyzing everything until you're done. Then you can go back and analyze it.
Right.
But
I think that's a really cool, unique approach.
Just get it done.
3, 2, 1, get it done.
Yeah.
Like you're not just like. I think a lot of people feel pressure around the learning process. And so almost like implicit in what you're saying is that you learn and just like know that you're learning, like kind of turn off your brain and you don't need to analyze. You're taking it in. Don't worry. Even if you don't understand everything, you are learning.
Take some notes.
Yeah.
Look at it later.
Yeah. You don't have to, there's not to be all this pressure on the learning. I think that especially for people that aren't like math people, if they're learning about loans, and stuff, it might feel overwhelming. It's like, it's all right. Just chill.
Yeah.
Just chill out. Let it, take some notes. It'll become more familiar. Don't worry.
If you don't understand simple interest or DSCR calculations, just do it 10, 20, 30 times, just some calculations, and you'll get a lot better. It may not be your thing, but it gets to the point where you're proficient at it and you know what you're doing. So I think the less people, they plan and they just do, are the ones who, and learn. Like they take it as a learning thing instead of like, no lender loves me because I don't have the right score. I don't have the right amount of money. I don't have the experience, whatever it is. Then the next time, maybe it's in 3 months, make sure you do have the right score, that you have found the money through gap funding, pure lending, and you've maybe gone out and mentored or something to find some of the experience you need.
Yeah. So don't make it about like, oh, I can't do this. I'm not cut out for this. It's like, no, just go learn some more. You'll be all right.
Find the reason you can and do one thing at a time until you're successful.
I dig it. And the thing that we're applying this to the most, to like the theme of what we're talking about today, is the pre-approval, right?
Exactly.
That's the thing you need to go out and do. And all that can be applied to that, right? Yep. Just get out there, ask questions, make it happen, get pre-approved for the type of loan, for the type of like, project that you're wanting to do. Whether it's DSCR or fix and flips or rentals, get pre-approved for those specifically, and then find those properties, and you'll be more likely to close on them.
Yeah, give yourself a little grace, a little time. Don't think you're going to become a millionaire in a week. Give it a couple months to find that first property, find a good property, be persistent, because even, you look back after a year and you're like, I did 2 or 3 flips and I made $100,000. That was great.
Yeah. $100,000 in a year is not bad at all.
But you're not going to make $100,000 typically the first week. That's just not the way it goes. But the first year you might make 100, the second year you might make 250, the third year you might make 500. But you got to kind of build to that too.
Yeah.
So get pre-approved. Make sure you're not missing out on these deals. Make sure you're not ticking off wholesalers and people you work with and realtors and all that stuff. Make sure you're ready as you find the properties. And sometimes it's even just running through with your lender. We do it all the time. It's like, send me an example deal. Let's run through it so you know all your numbers. So then they could kind of go and go like, okay, if I do something like this, I'm going to need a little bit more money. Or if I do something like this, I don't need any money. Run through some scenarios. Practicing, will help you.
Awesome. Practice and get pre-approved.
Yep. Get pre-approved.
Cool. Well, good talking with you, Mike. Yeah.
Appreciate it.